fucking thing cut me off. All right, guys, I'm going to have to start again. I got cut off. I don't know why, but I got cut off by doing a video trying to get some information out to you. And now I'm going to have to restart it because it put me at a halt. And I'm like, bleh. So again, welcome everybody. I just want to go over that you're not alone for people that are out there that are starting to see or feel that the world that they've been living in isn't quite the same as they thought before. And the more obviously research that you do, again, you know, it's only down to you if you know what's right and wrong, you know. So if you're one of these men and women out there that have seen information and you don't believe that 10 million children are going missing a daily and your media are covering it up on a daily basis and you're paying for it all, then I don't know what to say, because this system doesn't work unless we all keep paying each other money to keep it going round. So in my eyes, with the gang abuse that you hear on TV, the abuse on our children from popes and from the popes and the Catholics and all of that, you know, I'm sure if you dug a little bit deeper, you would realise that, you know, they're trying to tell you something, and they've been trying to tell you something for a very long time. But unfortunately, we've been dumbed down, ignorant, and to accept that these crimes should even exist in the first place. So again, as I say, I'm a man that has respect for others. I can tell the difference between actually what is right and what is wrong, you know, and if I have not done anything wrong, then why should I be someone else's subject to get paid? Just saying, you know, as I say, like, research does tend to start seeing through the bullshit of life. And again, it can be fear, it can be scary, because the unknown is what it's built for. Again, remember that this whole system has been built for nothing but to control man, woman, and child. And if you're going to break free from the system itself, then you're going to have to look at the evil that is actually inside it. And if for anyone that doesn't see the evil inside it, then as I say, go and do your research. Recognise that the system that we all live in, no matter what country you come from, is all fucking 25% criminal activity in theft, stolen goods, rape, murder, and everything. So for those people that think that doesn't, and this is all a conspiracy, then you need to open up your heart a little bit more, and you need to open up your brain, because there's a lot of damage going on in the world. And believe it or not, these people that have all positions of power, I'm not saying all of them, but there is a minority of them that are playing a role that are supposed to be seen to being good, and they're not, you know. So again, it's down to you to do your own research. I'm hearing a lot of people that are having police that just come into your house or convict you for there not being an actual crime. Again, a crime and assumptions are completely different. So if you've caused harm, loss, and injury to another being, harm means, I think you can work out that, right and wrong. Loss, just in case, like damage to your property, being conned, wasting your time, you know, anything like that. Loss of time, loss of earnings. It's all, you're all a victim too, you know. And then obviously you have your injury, you know. So self-explanatory really in my eyes. As I say, it's common sense. It's about letting go of the system that you've been built to believe in. Yeah, because as I say, the more research that you should do, it should actually give you more power than actually fearing that you need to do it this way or this way. Again, you're just a man living your life to the best that you can, and without consent, nobody else can interfere with that. Yeah, that's pretty much the basic bottom line, and that's going to be down to you to obviously do your research and stand up for what you believe is right. But also, we need to try to recognise, again, what's right from wrong. So again, as I've always said, that legal is only paper, and if you believe everything that's written down on it because of someone's job description, then you're going to get pulled into a legal system and you're going to go all around the houses until you can get justice. I just think it's easier to be a man to recognise that all legal is crap, and any man that's writing anything on paper, especially acts and legislations, because again, an act isn't law. So just for people that don't understand what an act is, if you go and look in the Oxford Dictionary, again, you'll see an act is an actor playing in theatre or a part of a movie or a play or pantomime. Again, as I said, anyone that's doing a job description, job role to get paid legal fiction money is nothing but a criminal or money laundering, and that goes for every single one of us. It doesn't, I'm not just saying it filters down. They made us believe that, they made us be the slaves to keep earning capital gain on our birth weight in gold, for example. So, when you go to the QE2 trust and you realise that your birth weight in gold was stolen from you, and then put on a market, stock market, to then create corporations, to create the dividends. Again, for those that don't know what dividends means, it means that you're a div. And that is what a dividends actually means. So, we're all running around chasing legal tender, which isn't actually real, because under the law, we already own it all. They've just put us into a program, a legal chess game, where everyone's created different jobs and purposes, policies, egos and opinions that have to stick by them job roles, descriptions, so that they can get paid. What happens if they don't do the job? They don't get paid, so they can't keep up with society. So again, you're just playing someone else's game up the top so you can feel that you exist on earth, when realistically, as I say, if they taught you no harm, no loss, no injury, take responsibility for your own actions, have a bit of common sense, go and live your life to exactly according to how you do, with taking responsibility for yourself. And again, anyone that interferes with you without there being any victim, then you are the victim of them to conspire, to collude. Again, conspire means to collude and plot in secret. So again, to make it easier for people to try to understand that anyone, regardless of their job, their title, if they are conspiring in a room, for example, sharing your data between two corporations to pass a fake debt on, then that is calculated, that is conspiring, that is sharing your data, that's sharing your privacy. That alone is fraud. Again, if you want to play in the act, then you can use Data Protection Act. Again, the police have to uphold Data Protection Act and not use it to their own will to catch you to make money. Again, policemen are there to protect and serve, and officers are there as a private company to make you do as you're told in force. So again, for me as well, another little bit of info, that the word enforcement alone is a crime because it's called enforcement. So if anyone's using enforcement, again, if no one knows what enforcement means, it means to make someone obey. Again, if you're being made to obey and you're living in your jurisdiction of no harm, no loss and no injury, because again, common law it's your individual power, where everyone expects the law to, it does cover the whole world, but only when man and woman decide to live in that statue. If you want to live in a statue, if you do no harm, no loss, no injury, and you've taken responsibility for your actions, and if there's no victim, then regardless of anyone around you, anyone that conspires against you, anyone that makes false allegations against you, anyone that obstructs you is breaking the law. Now, we might not all see that as one aspect. Again, it's been hidden, because if you knew the law, then life would be a lot easier. none of us would be in these positions of needing to steal in the first place, because again, we might think these thieves and that, oh, they're horrible, but they're only struggling due to the people that created the system in the first place. Again, every time they make another billion, another 5 or 6 children are getting kicked out on the street, if not more. So, you know, legal can't be law, because if it was, it would be fair to everyone. Yeah, and the reason that you don't understand what law is because you've been programmed to believe that you need to go to work hard, which, you know, there's no downfall or wrongdoing for that, because we all go out and go work and work hard. You know, it's the design of the work. But what I'm saying is that the design of the work, you do not need to be handing over your energy. You do not need to be handing over your money. And you do definitely not need to be answering to anybody that you don't need to be answering to. Again, it's all about energy. It's all about someone trying to manipulate and take control. So again, when you take your power back, again, please go to commonlaw61.com. As I say, have an open mind, read between the lines. I can't tell you this information. Only you have morals. Only you have the decency to understand what is right and wrong. And if you want to live in a jurisdiction where you've done no harm, no loss, no injury, and it has to be that to be any crime in the first place, then why wouldn't any man or woman want to stand under that? Because then everything else needs consent for you to lose your money, especially if you're being your number plate's being taken, or someone's trying to obstruct you on the street. You know, first of all, no matter what uniform, job role anyone does, they haven't got the right to interfere with you. So when we lose the fear, and that's why I say when you do the research, don't let it fear you. Yeah, stop trying to hang on to something, because the better way is to let go and say no, because you'll be able to protect yourself a lot more easier when you say no. And the reason being is because when you pull yourself out of the system, that is an illusion of fear and old programming that we've been conditioned to be scared of everyone's spelling on paper. Yeah, it's when it's about taking out what you think's right on your research, what resonates with you. Have an open mind. Again, like when you find out you've been lied to, and they're taking false taxes off you, and everything around you is basically just an illusion of fear to keep you paying. And if you don't pay, then this job's going to do this, and this man's job's going to do that, and then this man's job's going to do this. You know, it's all a distraction. And when we, as men and women, start to realise and resonate, you know, actually, I've done my research. I can see that they've created me as a legal fiction. How did they do that? They did that by your birth certificate. You know, they give you a name to think that it means something, but realistically, that's the tool that they use to get you all in this legal situation, so that you cough up your own guts when you've done nothing wrong. So you keep working hard to keep giving your hard-earned cash over to what? To what? Because under the law, as I say many times, and I will carry on saying so till it is programmed into everyone to realise their own power, is land, air and water. Yeah, no one is above the law. Yeah, and the law makes everybody equal in justice. The only difference that it doesn't is because we've got people that are playing in legal fiction, and because they're winning their legal battle, they are now promoting and trying to, you know, they're all trying to help. I'm not saying that no one's trying to help, but I'm just trying to make people recognise that, as I say, if you break down your wordings, your words, legal, common, what knowledge is, what the senses are, you know, sense, smell, taste, you know, gut, senses. We've got 5, 6 of different senses, you know. We don't need to just listen and look and believe everything we see. We've got a brain to work it out. We've got a heart to find what our truth is. And we've got these senses when we feel a little bit uncomfortable of what we're doing. They know that. That's why you've been emotionally traumatized and programmed to feel. So you don't stand up to feel that someone else has got power over you. But realistically, under all of that clothing, they're just a simple man like you doing the same thing, trying to make peace and abundance. But at the end of the day, these people that are trying to get money out of you are also being lied to by the system, because those at the top are not paying the taxes. They're telling you to pay the taxes. They're inflating your money. Yeah. They're telling you that celebrities are aggressively sexually active, and we just accept it because it is. But what most people don't realise is you're not just accepting it, it's actually brainwashing our children to be it. And until we stop and teach our children the difference between right and wrong, and then let them know that the TV they're actually watching right now is nothing but a massive influence, and because we people as the adults are too busy to keep up with our children, because we've got to try to run around earning fake money that we already own it all, and we're not looking after our kids properly, and then we wonder why they turn out as sometimes they turn out. I'm not saying people don't turn out and have common sense and grow and get stuck in this wondering, asking so many questions, but never knowing the real reason of why this exists in the first place. And when people start asking the questions, why do we live in a system that doesn't work fairly for everyone, is the biggest question out there. And then when you realise that it doesn't work for anyone because the game is only for another man's wealth. And when you look into all these big dead corporations that they've built and made you work for, to create all this, because remember, we helped create it to get out of it so we could live the best life that we can. And again, it's all been a facade. It's all been an illusion so that the top people can keep stealing everything that they've taken you from day one. So, there is people out there that are getting stuck with police. Again, if you want to stand up against police, they are going to do what they feel they need to do. So any action that they take against you is actually a crime. So the best thing to do is to log it. Again, recognise, without trying to get in too much of the palaver, recognise that a policeman has an oath. Regardless of everything else, regardless of absolutely bugger all left, you've got to think about it like this. You pay a policeman's wages. A policeman has an oath. If you've not committed a crime against another man or being, and then you get obstructed or made false allegations against, then these policemen have made assumptions, broken every act in their own workplace, broken their own oath. Now, that alone, without going into any legal procedure, is going to win a lot more quicker than you going around dancing around their game. Again, if you want to play with the devil, then you play the legal battle. If you want to be a man and you want to live in your own jurisdiction, then unfortunately you're going to have to do the research to see why this is an illusion, why your money is really going, why the banks are stealing your money on a daily basis, because the banks started with nothing, and it's only because they started to change policies and tell you to put interest in that they're stealing your money. And now these bankers are running the world, taking your money on a daily basis, and then you're wondering why you've got no money, when you really, all you're doing is paying a dead mortgage because the house has already been yours for years. And when you look into the Charity Act, a Charity Act, 2002, you will see that every house that's ever been built, so say for example, when we built these houses, we had to pay for gas, mortgage, say, or rental for 12 years, right? 12 years. You think how many houses have been around longer than 12 years, right? Because this is what the Charity Act, this is how it all started. Because we needed people to help build the houses. So what they did is they formed a scheme, Charity Act, where what they did is they helped you build the house, and then for 12 years you would pay standard price. But after that 12 years, your house would have been passed down to your general generations and generations. So you think about that for one thing, yeah? And remember, an act is just an actor that's upholding a policy, not law, to keep you in the threshold, to keep paying out for a dead mortgage. Yeah, go and have a look what mortgage means. Go and have a look what it is. Yeah, you're dead out in sea. Yeah, so there's a lot more people that can go and tell you all that. My research is already done, guys. I'm past all that. I'm coming through all that like years ago, and I'm now trying to come out to recognize, or try to show you and recognize that your power is already within you. It's down to your state of mind, and down to you when you recognize that you want to stand in your own jurisdiction. And anyone that's putting you in any other jurisdiction is actually causing you a crime. And everything that they use against you, you can actually use against them. As I say, if it's a policeman, you can use their oath against them. Yeah. Regardless what they say, they have an oath. And their oath is, and their main job as a policeman is to protect every single man and woman's hair on their head. Yeah. So what does that give them the right to make assumptions to come and arrest you for? Yeah. Again, take what resonates, but common sense says to me that if any policeman or officer using operation stings, then it's a crime. Yeah, because again, there has to be a victim to be any crime in the first place. So anything that these people are doing or made you believe is a right thing, yeah, any operation is actually a crime. And so is capital, as I say. So anyone that's making capital gain out of you could even be the job you're working for. You know, they're making capital gain. This is what I mean when it comes to law. Law is equal balance for everyone. And when you recognize, and I'm telling you now, when you recognize that this world isn't equal because it lives in a legal construct which makes everybody fear of everyone else's job position, because we don't know that aspect. Again, you have to learn. We were born here with two pairs of hands and a pair of feet and a brain and a heart to work together and create the best world that we could as one, because we are the people. Unfortunately, for generations of wars, manipulations, remember, when you've got good people doing good things, they're not the ones that are thinking about how to control the people. Yeah? Why do you think we have piracy? Yeah, because these ones wanted power. They wanted gold. Yeah, they tell you in your TV series, but you think it's entertainment. Yeah, and then what they did is they come over, exactly what they're doing now, but the only difference is back then they used ships and battles like we see on our TV series. And then what they do is when they take over, they change the rules. You know that. We watch it. You see it. Some of you think, oh, I wish I could be like that. Most probably, because that's what everyone wishes, to be someone else. Because if we wish to be someone else, then you can never be you. You know? Why do you think they now need transhuman? Why do you think they want the opposites of everything? Because if they can take the belief out of you being a man or a woman and be something else, then you're going to get more brainwashed and stuck in the system even more. Again, everything's about manipulation. Everything's about control. Everything's about you worshipping the devil. Again, if you're worshipping, then it says no more than that. Again, to me, if we all just walked in the light of our Father, of our spirit, of our soul, whoever, you know, everyone is into their own thing. I'm just putting some information out there for you to look at from a different angle and think, hang on a minute, you're right. You know, if you're Christian and believe in Jesus, then the questions you should be asking is, why you're not walking in his light? Why you're always going to church to pray for his light? Again, if you're praying or worshipping, then the only person that I can see that actually wants you to be worship is the devil. Yeah, the devil wants to be worshipped, and God, Jesus, Spirit, universe, whatever you would like to call it, walks with you. There's a big difference. Yeah, I don't do this because I'm anyone and I don't want anything out of it. I do this because we've all been lied to. Our kids are becoming robotics and ignorant and rude. And it's a fact because we've all been becoming that for the last 15 years and or longer. And it's time to make a change. At the end of the day, positivity is a lot better in the world than negativity. And if everyone's running on negativity, then you can wonder why the whole world is basically on fire and everyone believing that they can do and say whatever they feel, because there is no principles in this world and you can get away with murder in a legal framework because it was built for criminals, and then the people were stuck in it so that we could be caged and charged at any prospect because we believe that's the way that this is going, but not realizing that the 1% has already taken it all off of us, already stuck it on the first business that they created in the first place, and then everything from there just builds on. Yeah, because once you build one business, you need administrative work, and once you do administrative work, you need call centers, and once you get call centers, you see, and then the process keeps going down, and the more that you go down over the generations, we think of new things to try to keep us going, or they influence us to have ideas so then they can steal them off of you. Because remember, everything that you create something for man and woman that works well in this world to make things faster, they would take it off of you, rather hide it, down version it, so it would break every time they give it to you. Why do you think electronics break? Yeah, because they're made for you to just keep having problems in life. Again, if people understood the technology that was out there and understood their law, and we all come together, one set, one mind, then life would be a lot different. But at the end of the day, you've got to do your research. We've got to pull ourselves out of this stalemate, because that's what it is, guys. It's stalemate. And that's why I say I get it. When you start on this journey, it can feel very fearful, because you start to see what is right from what is being done wrong to you. And then because everyone's programmed to think that the legal is the procedure to beat courts and etc., again, the best thing is to recognise what a court actually is. You get, as I say, the court isn't a common law. The court isn't admiralty law. It's whatever they want it to be for their disposal to get the money out of you and cause you to be the victim of it. So if you can recognise that the whole world is plotting against you, then it should be easier to recognise that anyone that plots against you is using unlawful backslang words to keep you playing in their game. For me, just after learning, my head's boom with what I've learned, and it's very hard to come here and only tell you one subject of law when there is so much other stuff that's out there that if you went and actually had a look and had an open mind, you would see why I'm so critical on trying to feed people and recognise the difference between the Constitution, the Admiralty law, and what law is. At the end of the day, the law is the law, as I say. Like, it can't be broken until you stand in it. As if you've got loyalty, if you've got manners, if you've got respect, I can guarantee you probably 90% of this world doesn't cause any victim in the first place. So everything in the middle of that is just stealing off you and stealing off you and stealing off you. That's it. So if you can recognise they're stealing off you, then really is simply, and as I say, I'm happy to help anyone. I'm helping many people, and I'm getting to a position now where, I did this because it's the truth. It needs to get out there, and people need to wise up, and people need to stand up, and people need to stop playing in the games. Yeah, and if anyone is making claim on your name and sharing your data, it's end of. We've not even got to a legal stage because they've already committed defence against you by losing your time, breaching the peace, sharing your data, and now coming to conspire you against you. And they conspired against you before they even got to your property because they're all doing it in secret. Yeah, in what we would call a a in a working unit, working building, you see. So once we can deter the system we live in is nothing but void, and when you say no to it, all you got to do is make sure that you don't go to when I say you don't go to magistrates, look, I used to teach people, don't go magistrates, don't go magistrates. You don't have to go to magistrates. If it's like bailiffs and shit like that, excuse my language. If it's something to do with the police, then you more likely will do, because they would just, you have to speak. You're not going to get away with trying to blag your way out of that. But as what I'm trying to say is, if you do go to a magistrate's, you're not joining joinder, you're not getting involved with that jurisdiction, because if you get involved with that jurisdiction, again, you can play in it if you want, and that's down to you. But again, they might make things a little bit harder, and depending if you've done enough research, you might come unstuck, because now you're being pulled into a legal battle which you didn't really want in the first place. So if you've got magistrates or any kind of court, I know a lot of people going about King's Bench and all of that, but again, they're all playing with the same hand, yeah? And again, if the people were going to win, then the people need to recognise that when you go into any of these courts and you do not feel comfortable because you're actually not being there to be actually heard, yeah? Remember, you're not there to be heard. They've already made their decisions in their head before you've even walked in. So it doesn't matter what you bring in, yeah? You ain't going to get anywhere, unless you play your script and your role in a legal so bang on that they have got nowhere to go, then excellent, yeah? But why piss around with all of that fake backhand job to make you feel uncomfortable when you can clearly walk in there, yeah? Be polite, yeah? If don't, because I know a lot of people walk in there and they're, I ain't standing in that box. That means I'm giving my jurisdiction up. You calm down. Fucking hell, like, really calm down, yeah? That's the brainwashing of what they want you to think. And again, if you're going to give your energy and your power away so easy, then you're going to open your gob as if you think you know something. So the best thing sometimes is just to be polite, do whatever you want to do. If you want to shout, you know that you know your stuff, then carry on shouting, because it's just cheap work, yeah? And I know this because I did it, yeah? And I've got a voice when I need a voice. But then I know when to not say stuff, because I'm playing the game to beat them, yeah? And if I go, then I'm not playing no game, I'm playing their game, because that's what negative is, yeah? So for those that are out there fighting for us, I appreciate it, but let's start doing it properly. So if you're going into a magistrate's, the best thing to do is, before anything starts to get said, or you can listen to what he says. I recorded all mine, because they tried to make false allegations with me, and when I go to court, I will be dragging all of these people and courts involved with it. Again, they conspired against me on many different levels, from different courts and all the police stations, and they tried to hide all of the evidence with it. So, that's another story. But what I'm trying to get at is that when you go to a courtroom, yeah, you don't want nothing more than a fair trial. That's it. Because once you get a fair trial, yeah, in front of a jury, you can then represent your truth, your case, and you can then use and provide the law mixed in. So when you understand what common law is, again, it will be on the description of what common law tools are to help protect yourself. And again, anyone with any common sense will actually see, and if you've got, and lose the fear that anyone can claim your straw man, instead of worrying about how we get our straw man back, we have to worry about how we take our power back. Stop worrying about legal fiction, yeah? Again, you're only incomplete if you keep giving your brain to someone else, believing that they hold the power. So I'm going to cut it short there, guys, because I don't want to do a long one, but I just wanted to make sure that the way that you're going to do this is only by you standing in your own jurisdiction. Yeah, if you're going to fall into someone else's jurisdiction and believe that someone else has got the right to give you rights, then you're going to be a very lonely man, because you're going to be just looking for someone else to keep giving you the answers. Again, the answers are already within. Again, nobody can harm or touch or obstruct you without perverting the course of justice. Again, that's down to you to stand up and recognise the crimes done against you. As I say, if you've caused no victim of loss, harm and injury, then anyone coming to you or your door against their own oath, and any bailiffs, because all bailiffs are fake, they're only there to intimidate and they're only there to bully. So recognise there is no third-party contract, and the company that you stopped paying has now shared your data with the bailiff, and that, my friend, is a crime. So if you're one of these men or women out there that want to beat the system, then you take these people to a jury, because if they want to take you to a magistrate's, then you can go to the magistrates. It doesn't mean that you have to agree. You just have to stand there and say, I'll rather take this to a fair trial, please. That's it. You haven't got to say no more. Because then when it gets to a fair trial, you can then bring everything up that these corporations have done and lay it out. And by the way, because you're a victim, it's kind of suing them. You can charge what you feel like. So, for example, if you are taking on a corporation, and everything inside it, or you're taking the two corporations on for fraud, conspiring, colluding against you without your consent, then realistically they are perverting the course of justice. And if you get that in a fair trial and represent that properly, you can make claim on all of that corporation giving you the access to that money, because you can charge them whatever you feel on a daily basis. Up to you. If you want to charge them, if you think that crime's worth £1,000, it's £1,000. If you think it's worth £2,000, it's £2,000. I don't deal with fake money. I start charging these corporations now in gold. So every ounce of gold every day will be added on to anyone that makes a crime. Because one, when you start playing with numbers like that, no one will even want to get involved, so their behaviour should change. This is all about learning people. And how do you learn? By teaching people, by putting in punishments that they can't afford, because if they can't afford it, then it's another crime against you, isn't it? So then now they're looking at perjury, or as I say, under the law, common law, anyone that's breaking their own oath, it's actually a tribunal sentence. That's why it's called an oath. You don't have an oath and go, oh, I'm a policeman, I stand under protect and serve the people, and then go out in your car and then drive and start reading people's data, because it's called Data Protection Act, and they're meant to be upholding that act. Instead, they're using it for their own welfare. Means that they're breaking their own data. They're making assumptions against you if there's no victim, and now they're acting badly, in a bad behaviour, to think that they've got the right, and then they're kidnapping you, abusing you. You should be using this. Please don't like this. Please don't like me speaking this. Why do you think I'm being always chased down for the information is? But the thing is, every time that they chase me down or try to interfere with me, it's actually a crime against themselves, because I've never given once the option, I've not given anyone to share my data. So if you're sharing my data without my consent, I will take every length, every road to make sure that you get a punishable treatment, especially if you're breaking your oath. Again, if you want to play an illegal game frame with me, then I'm capable of looking after and standing up. It's simple, I don't do violence, but police do. So if I need to stand and protect myself against these violent people, then I will, because I've got no other reason. I've got no other reason to be getting involved with them, and they've got no reason to be getting involved with me. My information is mine. They can take whatever wants to come out of my mouth and go with what resonates. But again, I do not give permission for anyone to sell, share, obstruct, breach of the peace, and harass me and intimidate me. Because if you do, I will put a ounce of gold onto your head for the inconvenience of the loss of time that you're causing me and the anxiety, and I will take you to a fair trial, making sure that you get done for everything that you're supposed to be protecting, because that's how it works. And I know my language, I know my words, and I'm not scared, and I've stood up to many of them. And as I say, I will bring the police corporation down, and whoever side on that side of the fence, you will be going down with it, because everything that you are doing, everything that you're doing to the people is a crime. Yeah, because if you're not standing in your oath and you're going against your oath by using an act against someone on assumptions, yeah, without there being a victim of any kind, then you are a threat to society, your tyranny, and your morals. Obviously, you haven't got anyone, because the book has more power than your own heart. So again, as I say, if you come round looking for me, I know there's all sorts of people out there. You know, it's not the first time I've been threatened, and it won't be the last. But I will deal with you in the way that I need to deal with you, and I will have the people behind me, because the people want to stand up for what's right and not for what's wrong. Again, I don't do this to have confrontation. I do this because if we taught our kids the right from wrong, then they'll have a lot more life in themselves than being stuck in a house, stuck on a computer, not knowing what to do, everything being expensive, no one can afford to do anything. And again, why should children of any kind be living in that state? No matter if they're a rich child or if they're a poor child, every child should have the equal ability to stand up for themselves and recognise that any man that conspires against any man for any reason for their own doing is a crime against you. And if you can't recognise that, then I don't know how to help you. And I do understand it can be fearful, but again, no one's going to give you a power up until you recognize what your power really truly is. And again, if you don't consent, then everyone is causing you to be a victim, because everyone conspires to get paid. And if anyone tries to stop your freedom of will, your freedom of speech, and your freedom of choices, then they obstructing you and making false allegations. And that, to me, my friend, is perverting the course of justice, because no man is above man. And only if there's a victim of a crime, no harm, no loss, no injury, then there is a crime. Unfortunately, anything outside of that jurisdiction is a game. And only if you want to play in that game, then you'll realise that you'll just keep losing and playing wasted energy when there's better things to be doing. And this all could be broken down already. Good day.